A goth would never want to be accused of being joyful. However, it's not all doom and gloom, and some of goth music's most legendary singles are tremendously uplifting in their own right. Much of this is due to the fact that what defines goth is sometimes determined by the listener, and there are clearly music that some would argue are closer to post-punk in the perplexing world of genre limits. Goth's usage of strong bass lines, distorted guitars, and dramatic, lovelorn themes, often capable of blending glam rock, post-punk, and psychedelia, may often result in compositions that feel weirdly pleasant to dance to, given their subject matter. However, its reputation as a dismal, overly emotional musical work originates largely from its imagery, which frequently pulls from 19th-century Gothic fiction and horror flicks, causing some listeners to believe that its main themes are little more than vampires and depression. The subculture, with its own festivals, clubs, and, most notoriously, clothes, has always been based on community, despite the sometimes solitary and melancholic nature of its music. Sharing music with other fans who share your taste in music brings me joy, and the image of a room full of pale-faced goths irrationally dancing to The Cure is enough to make me happy on its own. Goth music explores the whole range of human emotions, evoking fear and joy with equal musical ease. Hello, I'm Julia, and here's our list of Goth's 10 most cheerful songs. Number 10. The Dawn Society, We're All So Happy. The Dawn Society produced opulent goth pop and were situated amidst The Cure and the psychedelic furs. Before they reveal their happiest in a nightmare, a thunderclap and a joyful synth dominate in the semi-ironic opener of We're So Happy. The song is an ode to unabashed chaos, following a group of people who are constantly on the lookout and ready to strike. The inciting chants of treason, treason, are as catchy as the bass line, making it a delightful call to arms for general anarchy, encouraging listeners to scream and shout to their heart's content. We're All So Happy peaked at number 22 on the UK indie chart in 1983 and has remained a masterpiece that will make even the most devoted gloomy goth smile. Number 9. The Birthday Party, Release the Bats. Nobody in their right mind would describe Nick Cave's screeching with The Birthday Party as cheerful, but there's something about Release the Bats that feels almost cathartic. Their shows and sound were frequently frightening, violent, and raucous, but that's what makes their music so strangely uplifting. Its hysterical cries of sex, vampire, bite, almost seem like a camp take on Gothic themes, which is how the track works best. Release the Bats, an unrelenting joy from the Australian goth rockers, is a key cultural touchstone for goth music. Producer Nick Loney recalled the band walking into the studio, looking like they hadn't slept in days, and hadn't washed in weeks, adding, recording a song called Release the Bats with people who looked like vampires was pretty fucking exciting. Number 8. Bauhaus, Ziggy Stardust. Bauhaus is rightfully one of the most celebrated goth bands in history, almost single-handedly pioneering goth rock with Bela Lugosi's Dead. They did, however, deviate briefly from their usual dark, gloomy sound to pay tribute to one of their heroes, David Bowie. Their cover of the glam rock classic Ziggy Stardust demonstrated that they could add a little traditional rock swagger to their sound. Their cover peaked at number 15 on the UK singles chart, earning them a spot on top of the pops. Listening to their deep appreciation for Bowie's sound and the energy they bring to it is quite endearing, making it a brilliant listen for goth and pop fans alike. Number 7. The Jeezys and Mary Chain, Just Like Honey. Just Like Honey is pure goth pop brilliance. The song is sweeping cinematic stuff from the start, with the opening drums lifted directly from the Ronettes' classic, Be My Baby. The reverb on William Reed's guitar brings it back down to earth, adding a touch of darkness to Piscacandy's opening track. Just Like Honey peaked at 45 on the UK singles chart and has since become a staple not only on goth playlists but also in film and television. The song Lost in Translation by the Jeezys and Mary Chain has been featured in Lost in Translation, American Horror Story, and The Man Who Loved Yngwie. It was the ideal marriage of rock, shoegaze, and goth, a souped-up, fuzzy delight that remains an anthemic hit to this day. Number 6. Sex Beat, Sex Beat. Sex Beat appeared on the 1983 compilation The Batcave, Young Limbs and Numb Hymns, which featured the best tracks from the infamous London goth club The Batcave. The song alluded to the Batcave's inclusiveness as well as goth's crossover into fetish fashion. Some wear leather, some wear lace, some wear makeup on their face.
Some wear leather, some wear lace.
The club welcomed some genuine goth stars, including Nick Cave, Mark Almond, Susie Sue, Robert Smith, and Sigu Sputnik. The track is so upbeat because it transports you to the heart of that space, with the thumping rhythm and relentless bass making it a toe-tapping, nostalgic goth hit.
Some are young, some are old.
When the sun goes down and the moon comes up.
Number 5. The Cramps, Goo Goo Muck.
You better duck when I show up. Goo Goo Muck.
Following its inclusion in the equally gothic Netflix series Wednesday, the Cramps' iconic single received a revival in 2022. Jenna Ortega, who played the title character in Tim Burton's reimagining of The Addams Family, drew inspiration for her dance moves from the goth subculture. And, while the Cramps never identified as a goth band, her sources of inspiration were a perfect fit for the song, proving it belongs in the goth canon. Its catchy melody and warbled lyrics make it a brilliant tune to dance to, making it one of psychedelic jungle and goth's most cheerful tracks, if the lyrics about a monster roaming the night are ignored. Number 4. Echo and the Bunnymen, Crystal Days.
Here am I, Poland blast with a golden view.
Even the most musically cheerful sounding goth songs usually have a bit of somber lyricism hidden behind poppy synth, but Crystal Days is an exception.
Looking for hope and I hope it's you.
Its sunny outlook, whole at last with a golden view, looking for hope, and I know it's you, is paired with Ian McCulloch's delightful vocals, which veers so far to the cheerful side that McCulloch's do-do-do outro gives us a hint of 1950s doo-wop. The third track on 1984's Ocean Rain, the album received mixed reviews but is now regarded as a post-punk gothic classic, producing goth playlist staples such as The Killing Moon and Crystal Days. Echo and the Bunnymen were not always considered a goth band, but their neo-psychedelic imagery made their sound almost otherworldly, making them a post-punk and gothic favorite. Number 3. Susie and the Banshees, Happy House. Happy House isn't just a contender because it has the word in the title, it's also one of Susie and the Banshees' most upbeat songs. The arrival of two new musicians, former Slits drummer Budgie and former Magazine guitarist John McGeoch, signaled a shift in the band's direction. Budgie, in particular, brought a new musical optimism to 1980s Kaleidoscope because he was a fan of African polyrhythms, which contrasted sharply with McGeoch's atmospheric guitars. As a result, the pair invented a new sound that combined reggae and goth. It was the band's second top 20 hit, reaching number 17 on the UK singles chart as the album's first single. Although the lyrics are cynical, the song's upbeat bassline lifts it to new heights, even though Susie admitted it was about mental families really, but the projection, that everyone smiling, blonde hair, sunshine, eating butter without being fat, and everyone perfect. Number 2. The March Violets, Snake Dance. The March Violets were one of the best Gothic bands to come out of Leeds in the 1980s, alongside the Sisters of Mercy and Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry. Snake Dance was their defining anthem, with a pounding opening bass line that rouses and reinvigorates the listener before the upbeat titular chant takes over. Snake, dance, snake, dance. Snake, dance, snake, dance, snake. The glittering guitars of Tom Ashton and Lawrence Elliott completely make the track, which is backed up by the band's beloved drum machine, appropriately dubbed Dr. Rhythm. Cleo Murray's backup vocals enable Rosie Garland's guttural cries to make the song equal parts rousing and sensual, resulting in a much-loved hit that swept goth clubs and reached number 2 on the UK indie charts in 1984. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to Rated G and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. And at number 1. The Cure, Friday I'm in Love.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's grey and
Nobody did a jangly goth earworm like The Cure, who could have easily taken the top spot with Love Cats, as Robert Smith sings lyrics like, "It's the grooviest thing, it's the perfect dream." While Smith was capable of producing some of goth's most melancholy, atmospheric sounds, he was also capable of producing an impendingly danceable number, and appropriately described Friday I'm in Love as a throw your hands in the air, let's get happy kind of record. Although it may not have fit into the nihilistic pornography, it's a fan favorite because it doesn't stray too far from Smith's romantic predilections. It's such a gorgeous sight to see you eat in the middle of the night, is a light-hearted, but earnest account of how love can make even the most mundane interactions seem miraculously joyful. The catchy pop stylings of Friday I'm in Love, for a band that wrote the lyrics, and I feel like I'm being eaten by 1,000 million shivering furry holes, make it one of goth's most upbeat songs. Check out these other clips from Rated G, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get updates on our newest videos. Thanks for watching this episode. I'm Julia. 4 of Rated G.